When the Helion embassy contacted me, I thought it was a mistake.
Me?
A caretaker for an alien dignitary? I was a former hospice nurse turned off-world behavioral specialist. Nothing special, nothing political. But the recruiter seemed oddly insistent. We reviewed your file, Mr. Harrow. Your history with trauma patients is exactly what the Sovereign requires. The Sovereign?
Yes.
The heir to the Helion ascendancy. The most important young life form in 3 sectors. That should have been my first warning. The second was the pay, enough credits to retire twice. The third was the clause buried in the contract. Caretaker accepts full responsibility for behavioral stabilization and must not impede corrective measures enacted by the Sovereign. I didn't like the wording. I didn't like any of it. But my sister's medical bills were stacking sky-high back on Earth. So I said yes. And that's how I ended up on the gleaming world of Kilara, standing before a crystalline palace grown from living light, waiting to meet the girl I was hired to manage. I expected alien nobility. I expected arrogance. I expected trouble. What I didn't expect was how she treated humans. The first meeting, the silver-haired Sovereign. Her name was Seraphine, 15 years old in human equivalency, though her species aged strangely. She was tall for her age, with silver hair that flowed like liquid starlight and eyes that glowed faintly violet. When she moved, her body emitted soft harmonics, like a musical instrument tuned to her emotions. Beautiful, ethereal, and alien, and staring at me like I was filth. "You're the human they sent to handle me?" she said, wrinkling her nose. Pathetic. One of her attendants bowed deeply. "Your Radiance, this human has an exceptional record." "I don't care what they say." Her voice rang with authority sharp enough to cut glass. "He will address me as Sovereign. He will not speak unless spoken to, and he will not touch me." I kept my tone calm, professional. "As your behavioral caretaker, I'm here to assist you, not." Her eyes flashed. "Did I give you permission to speak?" I paused. "No, Sovereign," I said carefully. She smirked.
"Good.
You learned faster than the last one." I didn't ask what happened to the last one.
Not yet.
But I noticed something else immediately. None of the Helion staff, not one, met her eyes. They avoided her gaze like it was a weapon. Because it was. Helions possessed a psionic reflex called Dominion Pulse, a subconscious ability to impose emotional states on lesser species. Most learned to control it by childhood. Seraphine hadn't. When she was angry, humans felt fear. When she was sad, humans felt despair. When she was bored, humans felt exhaustion. Her emotions bled into the room like invisible poison. And I was supposed to stabilize her?
God help me.
Her treatment of humans, the first shock. The incident that changed everything happened on day 3. Seraphine had a tantrum, an actual tantrum, because her ceremonial robes were the wrong shade of radiance. Her resonance flared, and the attendant holding her garment collapsed to the floor, shaking. "Get up," she said coldly. He tried and failed. His hands trembled violently as sensory overload nearly shut down his nervous system. She rolled her eyes. Humans break so easily. Something inside me snapped. "Sovereign," I said firmly. "Your emotional projection is harming him. Dial it back." Her eyes narrowed. "Are you giving me orders?"
No.
"I'm protecting your staff. And preventing an incident that would reflect badly on you." A tense silence. Then, she flicked her fingers. The attendant suddenly gasped for air as the psionic pressure lifted. He crawled away. Seraphine turned to me. "You didn't flinch," she said quietly. "I've seen worse." "Have you now?" Her voice dripped with disbelief. "Humans are fragile creatures."
Soft. Weak.
Born to serve. I stepped closer, not enough to challenge her, but enough to meet her gaze. Humans are resilient, I said. We adapt. We endure. And we don't bend quite as easily as you think. Her violet eyes widened slightly. A crack in the arrogance. Just a sliver. And then she turned her back on me. That's what your kind believes, she muttered. But belief does not equal worth. Those words echoed in my skull for days, until I finally discovered why she believed them. The middle, her curse, her guilt, her truth on day 10. I found her alone on the balcony overlooking the city, a breathtaking expanse of crystalline towers rising into soft nebulae winds. She wasn't glowing. She wasn't humming. She was crying. Quiet, trembling sobs that made her whole body dim, like a dying star. I approached gently. Sovereign, are you hurt? She didn't turn around. Go away. I didn't. Eventually, she whispered, You're wondering why I treat humans like insects. I said nothing. Because, she choked, I killed one. My breath stopped. She continued before I could speak. Not on purpose. I was 6. A human ambassador's daughter wanted to play hide-and-seek with me. She hid in the luminal gardens. When I found her, I got excited. Too excited. Her voice cracked. My resonance surged. She couldn't handle the psionic pulse.
She fell.
She didn't wake up. Silence. Then, my people didn't comfort me. They didn't punish me. They said it was the humans' fault for being too weak. And ever since then, they told me humans were beneath me. I understood. This wasn't cruelty. It was conditioning. Trauma weaponized into arrogance. But the pain in her voice was real. You're not a monster, I said. She finally faced me. Aren't I? Her eyes trembled. Everything I touch gets hurt. No, I said firmly. Everything you touch reacts. That's not the same. Her breath hitched. And you're not afraid of me? I shook my head. I'm terrified, I said honestly. But not of you believing the lies they taught you. Her eyes widened. Lies? That humans are weak. That you must control us. That you must fear connecting with us. Her voice came out small. And what is the truth? That humans can be fragile, I said gently, but we're also stubborn, compassionate,
brave,
and worth understanding. She stared at me for a long moment. Then she whispered, No one has ever said that to me. And for the first time since I'd met her, her glow warmed instead of burned. The breaking point. The Emperor arrives, the Helion Emperor, Seraphine's father, visited on day 21. A towering being of living starlight and crystal armor, his presence made the palace tremble. Even I had to shield my eyes from the radiance he emanated. You've grown attached to the human, he said to Seraphine, his tone cold as obsidian. She stiffened. He helps me, she said quietly. He stabilizes my resonance. No, the Emperor corrected. He weakens you. Seraphine gasped. That is not true. He glared at me. You will be dismissed. Permanently. I stepped forward. With respect, your radiance, Seraphine is making progress. Emotional stability. Controlled resonance. Empathy development. Silence, he thundered. A crushing psionic force slammed into me, dropping me to my knees. My vision blurred. My lungs froze. Seraphine screamed. Stop. Her resonance burst outward. A shockwave of violet light erupted from her chest. The Emperor staggered back, shocked. Seraphine ran to me, dropping to her knees as she grabbed my shoulders.
Kale.
Kale, please, look at me. Her hands glowed brighter, trembling with fear, not arrogance, not contempt, fear for me. that terrified her father more than anything. "You've violated the Ascendant Code," he said, voice shaking. "You've formed a bond." Tears streamed down Seraphine's face. "He's the first being I've ever connected to without hurting. He's the only one who sees me as more than a weapon." The Emperor's eyes darkened. "Then you are defective." Those words broke something inside her. Her glow dimmed like a star collapsing. "No," I rasped, forcing myself up. "She's not defective. She's evolving." The Emperor ignored me.
Guards.
"Restrain the sovereign. Prepare for resonance reprogramming." My blood turned to ice. Reprogramming. Memory erasure. Personality scrubbing. They were going to destroy who she was to make her safer. And I knew if they took her, she'd die inside. I stepped in front of her. "You'll have to go through me." The Emperor stared at me in disbelief. "You would defend her against us?" "Yes," I said. "Why?" I looked back at Seraphine. Her eyes, once cold, once hateful, now glowed with something fragile and new.
Hope.
"Because she deserves to live," I whispered. "Not controlled. Not punished. Just allowed to be who she's becoming." Seraphine reached for my hand, and her father saw it. The ending, the human who changed a sovereign, the Emperor struck. Not physically, psionically. A beam of raw psychic force blasted toward me, with enough power to liquefy my mind. Seraphine reacted before I could blink. She threw herself in front of me. Her body erupted into violet fire, her resonance igniting into a protective barrier. The Emperor's attack hit her shield and shattered into harmless light. She screamed, not in pain, but in fury. "You will not hurt him." The palace shook. Windows cracked. Crystal columns splintered. Energy flared through her like a supernova. And then, silence. The Emperor stared at her, stunned. "Impossible. You created a barrier strong enough to withstand an ascendant strike." Seraphine panted, trembling. "Not for myself," she whispered. "For him." Something changed in the Emperor's expression.
A shift.
A calculation. And then, astonishingly, he lowered his arms. "Perhaps," he said, "you are not defective after all." Seraphine's breath caught. "You protected a weaker life form," the Emperor continued. "Out of choice, not instinct. That is the mark of a true sovereign." Seraphine blinked through her tears. Does that mean I won't be reprogrammed?" "It means," he said slowly, "that your emotions are no longer a threat. Your bond has stabilized you." He turned to me. "You will remain as her caretaker." I exhaled shakily. Seraphine threw her arms around me. Gentle, controlled, intentionally soft. "I thought I'd lose you," she whispered. "You won't," I said. "Not as long as I'm breathing." Her glow warmed, wrapping us both in soft violet light. "I used to think humans were weak," she murmured. "And now?" She smiled, a real smile, not a smug one. "Now I know the truth." She cupped my cheek with a hand that glowed like a star. "Humans aren't weak. Humans are brave. Brave enough to stand against an empire for someone like me." She leaned her forehead against mine. "And that," she whispered, "makes your species the strongest I've ever known." I held her gently as the night sky shimmered above us. Not as her servant, not as her inferior, but as the human who helped her see her own humanity. And for the first time since she was a child, Seraphine glowed with peace.